I'm Chelsea Zaccato.
And I'm Natalie Heacock.
And this is Lumber Slingers.
Each podcast, we will be bringing you relevant and useful industry information, including interviews with top lumber professionals and discussion of current events in the industry.
Whether it be lumber grading, industry and market trends, or who's who in lumber, we hope to extend your current tally on industry knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Lumber Singers. Hi, Chels.
Girl, what's going on?
Did I just say lumber singers instead of lumber slingers?
I was just going to move past it, though.
That was nice of you. And we even have a guest. How embarrassing.
I know. Oh, you're probably just nervous.
Hey, Ken.
Hello. How are you guys?
Welcome to Lumber Slingers.
Glad to be here. Excited to partake.
Yes, you are a fellow podcast host, so it's like kind of the next level for us. Like we have to be on our A game.
This is exciting. There's several people who have asked me about your podcast and if the day would ever come, and I guess Christmas is happening on April 17th this year. So this is an exciting
Christmas is
exciting
here.
event.
You know, all it took was one shared drink at the Peacock, and here we are.
Yeah, like most good lumber connections, they happen at the bar top of some place with sticky floors and cheap beers.
Yes.
But you know what? Here we are.
Those floors are extra sticky.
Yeah, there's character built in over the years.
For sure.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. Okay, well, tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? Who are you?
So my name's Ken Timmins. I'm a trader at American International Forest Products, one of the Forest City companies, the flagship Forest City Trading Group trading floor. Been in the industry almost 10 years now. My company specializes in commodity trading products. So predominantly I sell or trade a lot of stud products throughout the Western US. Kind of specialize in truss material for component manufacturers throughout the mountain states. And I sell quite a bit of green lumber as well, which is how I got linked up with your company. Whirlwind of an experience the last 10 years, joining straight out of college, complete fluke how I ended up here like most people. And I'll shorten the story because I feel like most people have heard it by now. I went to the school career fair and I saw standing at the AIFP booth was one of my high school best friend's moms. Shout out to Shannon. An absolute saint of a woman. Gave her a big hug, caught up, and she, got to ask me, what do you think about doing after school? What are your interests? So on and so forth. And I'd studied economics in college, and I was interested in becoming a stock trader. And you see the movies growing up, and Boiler Room, Wall Street, Trading Places, all those things. And I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. I could do that. And so we're talking, and she said, hey, you should check out this company, AIFP. It's actually just like all those movies you said. Maybe even more so, a bunch of crazy characters on a wild trading floor going berserk all day, every day. I thought, okay, yeah, I could do that. So I came to the office. Interviews on our trading floor back then, and actually to this day, are ridiculous. We have 55 traders, and they give you a computer chair, like a rolling computer chair, and a list of everyone's names. And you push it around and have a little micro dose of an interview with everyone on the trading floor.
Every single person?
Every single person. 55 people. And at the time, I was a bartender. For anyone familiar with the state of Oregon, I was a bartender at Taylor's Bar and Grill in Eugene.
Hey, wasn't Kalena a bartender there?
Yeah, I
believe
so.
She was. Yeah, that's where all the industry greats start out there. It's kind of a feeder program, if you will. And I had bartended all night, got off work at 3 a.m, went home, showered, put on a sweater vest, drove to a couple hours to Portland, got there at 5:30 a.m. for the interview. Chugging coffee, just having coffee every few minutes to stay awake, all-nighter going into a 55 micro interview day, pushing my computer chair around. And all the traders here at American are 100% commission brokers. No one has a salary. Everybody is just full commission. And so you're bugging these guys. They're not excited to take 10 minutes out of their day to talk to some kid who may or may not make it or whatever. And you can see everyone glazes over when you say, hey man, you got a couple minutes. Can I talk to you? And I'm thinking, golly, what am I doing here? The last thing I want to be with these guys is forgettable. I just don't want to be some other kid. And so everyone starts the conversation by saying the same thing. So Ken, tell me a little bit about yourself. And so I said the most interesting thing about myself in the moment, which back then and probably to this day rings true. I am the Northwest Regional sponsored Qdoba burrito eating champion. And everyone looked at me and thought, what did this kid just say? I thought, yeah, sit up straight. You're interviewing royalty, buddy. Let's do this thing. And I said it to everybody. And it was a Friday, and in our office on Fridays, we were doing donuts that day. We might get bagels or burritos or whatever, but we had donuts. And I said this burrito eating champion thing to everybody. And Fridays in the lumber industry, as we all know, kind of get a little slow around lunchtime, and, you know, it kind of tapers off. And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, one of my fellow traders, Robbie Westbrook, great guy, great trader, pops his head out of the conference room and says across the trading floor, "Hey, champ." Everyone stops and looks and sees what's going on. He goes, "I bet you can't eat these donuts in 2 minutes." And instantly everyone hangs up the phone call they're on. One guy slaps a 20 on a desk. "I bet he can do it." Another guy slaps a 20. "Screw the kid. He can't do it." One guy threw a handful of change at me. I'm a 22-year-old kid in a sweater vest and a tie. Like, what did I just get myself into? Next thing I know, there is 40 degenerate lumber brokers huddled around me, screaming and betting on me while I'm eating donuts as quick as I can, just freaking out.
Just go for it. You're like, I'm doing it.
Oh yeah. I was like, well, I can't turn around now. Like, we're
Yeah.
here.
You're in too deep.
Oh my gosh. And just, yeah, lacking out on calories. And it came down right to the wire. And I finished off the last one with like 2 or 3 seconds to spare, and they hired me on the spot. And that is why I am on a podcast with you guys as a lumber professional.
My
That's how we started in this business, and we haven't looked
This
back
is
ever since.
even better than I anticipated. I hadn't actually heard the story. I had heard like a little rumor about it, but like,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
I have a video for anyone listening. If you buy a truckload of lumber, I will text you the video.
Wow. What a sales guy.
Yeah. So
Okay, so I have a question. Now, when you have people come in and do a little micro interview with you, are you like, "You're boring"? Like, do you immediately like, "Tell me something good"?
I have kind of a different philosophy on the interviews because and I am part of the hiring team, and we ask kids, you know, there's a big list of what's your passion and tell me about an
Yeah.
obstacle you overcame. I throw that out the gate immediately. I'm asking some left field. I start with what's your favorite movie? And if you can't tell me that quick, you're out. If you have any premonition of you don't know or you're trying to curate an answer for me, I'm good. That's a red flag. We had a young
I like
man in
that.
here last summer who worked for the Portland Trailblazers for a couple years. And I asked him, I said, "Who's your favorite Trailblazer all time?" And he had such a great answer that we hired him. He kind of a gritty, not high scoring point guard, Steve Blake, for those who are in the know. I was like, that's a great answer. I love that.
Arvydas Sabonis is mine, in case you're wondering.
Ooh, that is a pull. I love Sabonis.
Good one.
That is a great answer. You're hired.
You could hire
You
me.
start on Monday. Yeah. Start selling studs with us. So yeah, I mean, anyone in the business knows there's no perfect combination of things that you can look at and say, okay, this will be a good employee. This won't be. I mean, everybody's a character in this business. People get along with who they get along with. In our floor, we have 55 traders, and everybody's got relationships all over the place. So you can never really tell, but you just got to follow your gut. And very fortunate that for whatever reason, those guys on that day saw me eat a bunch of donuts and thought, okay, he's in. And I kind of try to implore the same logic when we're hiring people. If I feel like you're giving answers that you think we want to hear, I'm kind of out. If you are authentically yourself and unapologetically being real, I can roll with that. That's someone who can be on my team and I could spend some time with and be in the trenches with, so to speak. So it's fun.
I love
fun
that.
process. Yeah.
It's like the advice we didn't know we needed. Thank you.
That's how I'm justifying it to myself without having a real rubric. It's, it's the classic, all right, I like this guy or gal.
Yeah.
We do have a female trader here on the floor. She's killing it, earned herself a spot on the company vacation. So she's out of the office today. And if she's
Okay,
listening
what is
to this,
that? Tell us that.
What is that?
So Forest City is our parent company, and we have kind of a couple statuses of trader. When you reach a certain profit mark, you become a silver trader, and then we have what's called gold traders, which is kind of a higher echelon of profitability. And every year there is a gold trip. This year's in the Bahamas. Last year was in Florida, all over the world. It's Mexico, Hawaii, Costa Rica. And so it's once a year for the top performers get to go on a big vacation and celebrate and have fun the lumber broker way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like how many people-ish are going?
Our organization has about 450 traders in total across 11 companies. And I believe about 200 qualified for the trip this year.
Whoa.
So it's pretty fun.
Wow.
It's a party when you're out there, and these are sister companies of ours, trading floors around the country. We don't work together with these floors, though. These are our direct competitors, which makes it a fun dynamic. And actually, it is pretty great getting to meet some of these folks and spend time with them face to face and have a drink, or meet their family, and your kids might become friends with their kids, and everyone's at the pool hanging out. Or it's a cool community. Definitely very fortunate to be a part of Four City Trading Group. It's a great organization.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I love that. So, okay, we kind of talked about skills that matter most. I think, you mentioned being transparent in the interview, being really who you are. What is that? How does that translate to the trading floor? What does that look like? Like, what skills are important to have on a traditional trading floor?
Super good question. And a lot of people would love to think, high mathematics skills or ability to articulate economic trends. Those really are important and help you as a trader. I'd say it's really kind of a three-part system of skill. You got to be a market analyst, you got to be a salesperson, and you got to be able to work hard. And each of the three pillars kind of are completely independent of each other. And it's funny, you see traders on the floor where someone might be incredible at reading the market, but maybe not the best salesperson and could work harder, so to speak. Or maybe someone's just a really hard worker, but they kind of lack in the other two. And that's the fun part about being on a trading floor this big. People complement each other really well. Teams start forming in alliances where we all kind of work together, which is really fun. And there are some folks who are all three and remarkable all three. And it's an anomaly to see these folks work day in and day out. It's very interesting. And lumber is so funny because it's not a perfect science. I think one of the things that steered me toward lumber and away from stock trading, for example, that's very regressional. That's more data driven. That is very, reading reports, seeing political policy or economic trends. And, it's very black and white. And I don't think any stock traders are going to listen to this recording. And if they did, they'd probably laugh and, slap me across the face. I get it. But lumber is so feelings based. One of the traders who taught me, his name is Art Reed, phenomenal guy, would always talk about the animal spirits of lumber trading. And it's so true. The crowd gets spooked in unison. The crowd gets excited in unison, and to a fault, we almost all get too excited and too down on ourselves. And it's really never as good as it is or as bad as it is, but it's such an emotional, and it's funny. I think the best traders that I work with are very even keel. Don't let the waves excite them too much. I mean, I often tell the new guys on the floor that lumber trading is just like being a professional surfer, right? Like, not any single person, especially in the commodity market, can cause a wave. You can show up to the beach with a breakfast burrito and a little sunscreen on your nose and be ready to ride the wave. And how you ride it is all up to you. And maybe you're in the right spot and the wave doesn't break under you. And maybe you're in the wrong spot and the wave does break under you. But you can't control the ocean. So you got to just let go of trying to control the things you can't and just do the best job controlling what you can. So it's not a perfect science. It is highly emotional. I mean, I think a lumber trading floor is probably as emotional as it gets in terms of career paths. I mean, people could be up, down, screaming at each other, papers flying, whiteboards being erased, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it's far from perfect, but that's what makes it very exciting and enjoyable for me. It's a great environment to be around. I think the second most exciting environment is the third grade cafeteria, and the levels of maturity are very similar in both situations. So it's definitely a good time. And I do enjoy working on such a large trading floor because 55 traders is, all things considered, pretty big in terms of commodities in the US. And, we're mostly lumber, building materials. We do a few other things, and I'm not super privy to it, but I'm sure there's, trading floors for bananas or coffee beans or gravel or you name it.
Yeah.
55 is on the larger end of that scale. So I do like being in the bigger pool, so to speak. Keeps it very fresh, and there's always something to do. If one product's a little quiet, go trade something else. It's always spinning somewhere.
So I would love to hear you walk us through a day at American International. You get there at what time? What's the first thing you do? Walk us through what that looks like.
So I also love this question because people always freak out about this. Self-admittedly, I am not the first one in the office. I know everyone taught me growing up, be the first one in, last one out. I get it. I'm West Coast predominantly. So I sort of have the luxury of coming in on the back end of our trading floor. So I show up anywhere between 6 and 6:15 every day.
That's the back end.
I am one of the later guys in the office. We do have a sales meeting every day at 6:30, which we have a new office building, and it's great. But our old office was pretty cool. We had a gigantic round table that fit all 60 of us, and one table, Knights of the Round Table style, with piping hot black coffee. And we'd sit there and scream about the lumber market till we were all juiced up enough to go sell some stuff.
My gosh.
Oh my God.
That table, I don't know where it is, but it was incredible. Beautiful, Doug Fir Clears table. Thing had to have been
Oof.
$1,000 worth of wood. It was pretty cool. So I get in around 6 to 6:15 every day. We have some traders who specialize in Eastern spruce and European lumber. They could be getting into the trading floor anytime between 4:30 and 5 in the morning, which is
Wow.
wild. I am
Wild.
happy to be a West Coast guy. So show up, normally bring the biggest coffee Starbucks will give me and a good attitude, and get into the sales meeting, give my 2 cents on the products I'm trading, get out to
How long are these sales meetings? Every day at 6:30? How long?
these days 10 to 15 minutes. My
Okay.
company famously used to just go on and on. Lumber traders tend to really enjoy the sound of their own voice. So it started to become a competition of who could have the last word. And, we just go in circles saying the same thing. It's like, guys, we should go do our jobs.
Synergy.
Yeah, exactly. So 15 minutes, more or less now. It used to be 30 to 45 minutes back in the day. Yeah.
What's the purpose of the meeting?
Talk market conditions, really. Because again, it's emotional and it's almost like being a lumber weatherman. Nobody knows for sure what the forecast will look like,
Mhm.
but our job is to be able to read the factors that are influencing the market better than anybody else, so we can advise our trade partners on both sides of the ball. If one of my trade partners, one of my customers, is trusting me to help them leverage their material to best be profitable over the next 90 days, I mean, I take immense pride in being able to help these guys do it right, buy it at the right time, work through their inventory in a reasonable time frame, and also beware of the storm that might be on the horizon, right? I mean, anybody really could sell a load of lumber somewhere, but the magic is being able to make a partnership with a person and a company that lasts 5, 10, 15, 20 years, because you're right often enough that's really looked out and helped that company. Especially, I think, more than any time, I really take a lot of pride if it's somebody you're dealing directly with, an owner operator. It's their money. I mean, because it matters to them. Their whole livelihood's on the line. Their kids, like how you treat this business. And not that it doesn't matter with other companies, but there's a lot of care that goes into that. Somebody's bet their whole livelihood on this working, and they're trusting you to help them leverage that. That's a big choice. And average trade size for what we do, my company only sells rail cars and truckloads, no LTLs or anything like that. And typically on the cheap end, I mean, the lowest value products we trade probably $10,000 a truck. And on the high side, it could be $50,000 to $60,000 a truck. And we try to do multiple at a time. So, I mean, in a given day, you could be trading $500,000 to $4, $5, $6 million worth of material quick. And so you really got to be on point, and commodities move fast. So every second matters. So
how many truckloads by taking this interview with us have you
missed?
lost?
There have been a few missed calls. I'm letting them ring out because this is a high priority meeting for me. The market's going up. For every call I miss, we're making a buck. I don't know. Who knows? I think there's plenty of wood bought right in the company inventory that I purchased and left for the trading floor. So hopefully the calls I'm missing are people saying, hey, great news. We're going to point this rail car to Chicago or whatever we're doing. Today's been pretty quiet, though. Where we are in the market's actually been running longer than anyone anticipated at the start of the year. 2026 has been very interesting. We had strength as we turn the calendar from 25 to 26, December, January. January is always one of the best months of the year, always. It's a restocking month. A lot of people run their inventories down to the ground at the end of December for a few reasons. Good for the books at the end of the year. Some states have inventory taxes where you got to pay extra. So normally people really run it down. And then at the turn of the year, January is restocking month. So everybody loads the boat. And then consequentially, February is one of the worst months ever. We get slapped hard in February year after year. And I always tell myself, okay, we're not going to do that next year. And then you get the emotion of January. It always happens.
Yeah.
Always happens. February was great this year. not like most years. It was really, really strong. And so people thought, okay, it's got to be March. It's for sure going to crash in March. No, didn't. Things were looking really positive, and we've got right through March. Now we're in the middle of April. Things are still looking pretty good. A classic line that we typically use in the office is that we want to be nimble by Memorial Day, end of May. And this year, yeah, we might be bringing inventories down gently, but it looks like we're going to get more legs this year than typical year still. 26 has been an anomaly. No one thought we'd be on a 5, 6, 7 month run right now, but we are. So kind of going back to that point I just made about taking pride in being able to help our customers leverage their money as best they can. Part of my job in an up market is to buy wood ahead of schedule and take on the risk on behalf of my customers to help protect them from the upward market trend. When the market is going up, I mean, that's a controversial thing to say, I suppose, in the lumber business. If you ask 1,000 people, you're always going to get answers in both directions. And I think some of the more famous, predominant lumber gurus that like to be on the internet space, I'm not going to name anyone by names, are very famous for saying, oh, the market's going to come off. It's like, well, yeah, dude, a clock without batteries is right twice a day. It will come off eventually. The magic is really being able to make a strong call on when and how to prepare your folks to navigate that properly. Because I mean, not to oversimplify it, but we sell pizza dough to pizzerias. You need it to run your business. But the key is if the price of dough is coming off, you have just enough dough so you don't have to say no to any pizza orders while still being able to operate every day, but leverage your material as best you can. So market is strong. It's been very fun. My
I
company,
just have to say, I love all your food analogies. It
kind of my thing.
brings every point home to
Kind
me.
of my thing. Well, and also we were chatting about this a little bit before we started today. The podcast that I record with the Structural Building Components Association, Lumber Connections is the name of that. And since we're part of an organization, an association for antitrust purposes, we can't actually use numbers. So it leads to this scenario of I come up with a lot of analogies.
You're like, pizza is trading at $4.36
Yeah,
today.
I know you can't tell by my girlish figure or my donut eating story. I'm quite the slender fella. So food analogies are what tend to come naturally to me.
How many spaghettis is that?
Yeah, exactly. That really is kind of how, although I think one thing, and maybe it's to a fault, maybe it's the worst thing about me. I think a lot of people get too emotional about lumber itself. And so I try to tend to explain things to people in assets that make sense to them. In the same way that you go to a casino and you put your cash on the table and they take it and give you pretty little chips. It's like, oh, this is fun. This isn't $300 that I worked hard for and paid taxes on. These are little fun tokens, right? And like it takes the stress out of the transaction that you're doing. So
Yeah.
if I'm talking with a client that's really into cars, we might talk about the market in terms of cars. Or I like food personally, or maybe it could be sports teams. Maybe somebody's really into athletics and, like when the NFL's in full swing, there's a lot of guys who love talking about their team. And so maybe you explain to them a lumber trade, like you're trading your star player for whoever, and it clicks for that person. So a fault of mine. I tend to do that probably way too often, and oversimplifying the job, I think, is both my biggest skill and weakness at the same time. But I was a bartender before this job, and I kind of take pride in the fact that anytime somebody is doing a trade with me, it should feel like I threw a towel over my shoulder and slid them a pint. Like, it's cool. We'll be okay. No one's dying. Yes, it can be stressful and there's a lot of weight to it, but like, it's all going to be okay. We're going to build some homes. We're going to buy some stuff. We're going to sell some stuff, and we're going to do a good job, and we're going to have fun doing it. Everything else will shake out in the long run.
And we're not doing brain surgery.
No, gosh darn it. No, it's not rocket science.
And
It's barely rock science. I mean, really, I have an economics degree. The hardest math I do on a daily basis is add 2 3-digit numbers together, and I'll call my own foul. They get added wrong sometimes, and everything is okay. We all get through it. I think that's the most lumber trope there is being off by $100 1,000. It's happened to me. Someone's quoted me off 100 a day. Happened yesterday. We all do it. I mean, normal day, I probably kick out 100 quotes, 150 quotes. Like you're bound to just accidentally be off. But it's just like, here's an analogy. If you're golfing and you're 165 yards out and somebody takes the rangefinder and goes, oh, Ken, that's 66. Obviously, it's 166. If you think that's
Right.
66 or 266, you're a schlep. You
Yeah,
know,
not
same with
paying
lumber.
attention.
Yeah, if you're outside of
Yeah.
$100 window, we all commodities get traded very, very tight. I mean, if you
Yeah.
send an inquiry out to 10 sawmills or wholesalers, the cluster is going to be within 10 to 20 bucks always. So
Right.
here I am just
What do
screaming
you
about
see
wood.
that
Thanks
that's
for
all
putting
right.
up with the TED Talk.
No, it's good. You have a lot of good little nuggets in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious, just more timely question about with how many truckloads and carloads you're moving, what's freight doing? Is that a strain on you right now?
Super good question today specifically. Freight has been super difficult. Very fortunate at AIFP. We have a 4-person in-house dispatching team that does a phenomenal job. My head dispatcher's name is John Owens, industry pro, been around forever, great relationships. We are very fortunate. Now, obviously, pricing has gone up 30 to 40% on freight, directly correlated to the price of oil, the Iranian conflict, the Strait of Hormuz, right? It's all been a big deal. Came in this morning to headlines and emails about Iran saying that, let me back up. Did I just say conflict with Israel? I meant Iran.
No.
Did I say Iran?
I think you said
I
Iran.
blacked out.
That's what
I don't even
what I
remember
heard.
what the question was. Anyway, Iran is stating that the Strait of Hormuz is 100% open now. So crude oil's down to $88 per barrel. That's very good.
Wow.
That will ease things on paper. I don't actually think freight prices are going to come off very much. There's a lot of strain on the transportation industry. In ballpark numbers, my company does between 20 to 25,000 trucks a year. Doesn't include rail cars. We do a whole nother clip of those. So every penny on oil really counts. There's been a lot of restrictions on who can drive a truck, what kind of qualifications you need to be in that body of people. Trucking companies have had to replace old equipment with newer trucks with electric log books, which make things a lot more difficult. High regulation. And I think that in theory, while the price of oil should be coming off and things should be easing, there is high incentive for folks in the transportation industry to maintain high rates. So let's say price of oil comes off 30%, your freight rate might come off 5 to 10%. I think that's going to stay pretty elevated, at least for the rest of 2026. Too early to really make a guess on 27, but it has been difficult. And availability has been really tight. I mean, a prompt truck right now is all of 2 weeks. If you get something moved quicker, that's very, very fortunate. That will get better. Availability will get better. I think pricing will stay strong. And I'm not saying that's a negative. I want the logistics people to get paid. I think that's very important. It's funny, it being in the middle of the commodity trade, there's always this group's getting paid and this group's getting shafted and these people are here and everyone kind of has their minute in the sun. And going back to the point of it's not as bad as you think it is and it's not as good as you think it is. Everybody, if we can all coexist while making gentle profits and doing good business together, best case scenario. Now, prisoner's fallacy doesn't always happen that easily, but I think it's important those logistics folks do get paid. And when I retire from lumber, I'm going to be a trucker for a year or two. Are you kidding me? Is there anything better than being on the open road with nothing but your thoughts in a Lumber Slinger podcast? Yeah, exactly. A blue Gatorade and some beef jerky, hanging out, seeing the views.
You might be replaced by then. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you could have AI driving.
Well, who knows?
AI will drive you around.
With the regulations in place, you know, whatever this is probably won't be acceptable by that time, but we'll see. Who knows? I think it'd be super fun. I love any chance I get. And that's why I think it's so fun seeing sawmills. Sometimes you get to see some of the most beautiful parts of the state and country.
Yeah.
You might not have cell service for 5 or 15 minutes at a time. Kind of a blessing, let's be honest. And you get to go meet nice people from, you know, maybe smaller towns. I'm just outside of the city here, 15 minutes, a kind of hustle bustle type place. Then you go to a town of 400 people and you get to meet some real hardworking American folks. And it's awesome. It's a slice of life that I always enjoy getting to do. So once I retire from being a commodity trader, I might just buy a flatbed and just start going mill to mill, dropping trucks off. I think it sounds great.
All right, you heard it here first.
Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled for Timmins Trucking LL.
Timmins Trucking.
Yeah.
Hey, it has a nice little ring to it. There is something mesmerizing about watching a log get cut. I mean, I could watch it all day. It's cool. And a lot of people don't get to see that. So
Totally agree.
Yeah.
There's a million ways to do it too. Not every, I mean, mills are
There's a
very
million ways to do it.
similar, but no two are exactly the same, and I think that is one of the coolest parts of dealing with like a highly analytical, sophisticated customer base is they really care about the process. And it's fun. Another silly food analogy. I mean, logs to lumber is potatoes to French fries. It's the same thing. We're taking something circular and covered in bark and trying to make perfectly square pieces. And sometimes there's, you could cook it different. You can do all sorts of things to the potato.
Potatoes to French fry. That's so good.
Isn't that awesome?
Like, what do
You
you
need
do
to
with
like
the peel?
trademark that or something.
Probably
You gotta
should.
keep that.
The analogies are free. Just the lumber purchasing is what keeps me in it. But it's so true. Well, I worked in a diner back in college diner during the day, and then I bartended at night. I used to work
Dang. Did you
16
pay for
hours a
your
day.
whole college?
I did.
Sounds like it.
I was at the university. I would do online classes in between the diner and the bar. But part of my job was just ramming potatoes through the potato peeler all day. And it's the same idea as going to a sawmill and watching logs get debarked. And, you get pieces of clears out of the middle. You get economy off of the sides.
Yeah.
Personally, I
Say,
love.
were your French fries usually VG
Yeah.
or like what they
Oh
look
yeah,
like?
I spit out a real nice looking fry. There's some prior selection going on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There is some
That's what matters.
some VG
Matters what you
fries
feed into that.
for the kitchen staff for sure.
Yeah.
Some selection.
Yeah, not that you asked. I'm actually the total opposite. I like skins. Give me that piece on the outside. I love it. Fry a skin.
You're the debarker guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
a garbage man when it comes to my French fry game, I suppose. I like the economy, the pallet stock is where I get down in the kitchen for sure. I think
This is so
that's
good.
the best. So anyway, I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but
I feel like I need a breakfast burrito. I don't know why.
I kind of want some French fries right now. I'm actually getting kind of hungry. So
that's the
So-
breakfast of champions for a lumber broker. Black
Yeah.
coffee, breakfast burrito, headset, your game ready.
ready to go.
Good.
Well, before we wrap, this has been so fun. Give us some advice to someone who wants to become a lumber trader.
If you wanted to become a lumber trader, highly recommend it. I think it's an incredible career path. It's very fun. Not 2 days are the same. It's always a similar puzzle, but the puzzle changes overnight always, which makes it very enjoyable. I think there's a few things to consider. How big of a company do you want to work for? I work for a very large trading floor, and I like that environment. A little crazier, louder, wild. Things are happening all the time. There's a lot of smaller trading floors. I think the metro area of Portland has about 50 wholesale lumber companies alone. Portland's kind of lumber Wall Street, right? There's companies all over the place. There's a high concentration of them in Portland, Oregon. But you could be in Canada, you could be in the South, in the Midwest, wherever. They're all over the place. But think about the kind of work life you like, and really that kind of translates to your tolerance for noise, because there's a lot of very quiet offices, there's a lot of very rambunctious offices, and neither one's wrong. It's kind of your preference there. I think there's a lot of folks, especially newly retired folks, since the COVID markets, where a lot of guys got to make some pretty healthy profits and retire to bounce grandkids on their knees for the rest of the time. I would reach out to those guys and gals, get their 2 cents. And I think most of them would tell you it's the best career you could pick. Very rewarding, very fun. So I'd reach out to some folks like that. I would also try and seek out some young 1-year, 2-year trainee type folks who you can probably find on LinkedIn pretty easy, get their experience, because it is difficult in the beginning. The first few years are the toughest. Like a 401k, it compounds every year. And those first few years are where you cut your teeth. And then I would also think about what kind of environment do you want to navigate when you're 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into your career. I'm a commodity guy, trade a lot of 2x4 9-foot studs. That is the number one most used product in the lumber industry, the white rice of lumber. It goes with everything. Find me a building that doesn't have studs in it. If it's framed with wood, you can't. And most of them are 9-foot. So that's one far end of the spectrum. You could be a specialty industrial trader where you're doing a trade once a month or once every 2 months, and it's more repeatable, and that has a different type of lifestyle with it as well. So something to consider. And I think the most important thing really is find a company with people that you connect with, because really when it comes to trading commodities, it's all the same. But the folks you work with, the folks you work for, the people you get to spend your time with. I spend 60 to 70 hours a week with my fur trading team. and they're family to me. I love them. I might like them all differently from time to time, but I do love them all. And it's super important. I mean, we spend more time with each other than our families a lot of the time. So I think that's the biggest key. If you take anything from what I'm saying, I would say evaluate the character and the values of the people you'll be working alongside, because it really matters.
I love that.
Absolutely. Love that. Yes.
Okay, and last thing, tell us where to find your podcast if people are interested in listening.
Oh yeah, the Lumber Connection. Actually, I believe we rebranded to Component Connection. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, and you could also visit the Structural Building Components Association website, which I think is sbca.com. They also just got a new website, but if you Google Lumber Connection or Ken Timmins, it'll pop right up. And we record once a month these days. And as the market gets a little perkier, we'll probably go every 2 weeks just to keep people up to date on what's going on. And then,
Prized.
yeah, and I should also say, if you've made it this far listening to me ramble about potatoes and food and donuts and if you are someone in the industry who wants to discuss lumber, you buy lumber, you don't buy lumber, it doesn't matter. You can reach out to me as well. Email, phone, doesn't matter. My contact info is online on LinkedIn. I'm definitely a huge advocate for the industry, and you don't need to be somebody buying a load to talk to me. I'll talk to you. Would love to share my insights and opinions and get to know the folks who are in the atmosphere.
Awesome. We'll put your contact in the show notes as
Great.
well.
That'd be great.
And you don't have YouTube yet.
No. This I kind of have a face for radio, so we don't do anything
Stop.
with video in my world, just audio so far.
Hey, well, this will be our first YouTube video.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Looking forward to it.
You did it.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate everything you guys are doing. Your industry legends growing day by day. We hear people talk good things about you all the time, so keep up the good work yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Well, if you hear bad stuff, also let us know so we can.
I'll just address that head on. We'll take care. We'll take care of that at the bar top, like old lumber
On this
brokers
side?
do as well.
Got it.
Perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate
Cool.
that.
Well, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Alrighty,
Ken.
take care.